Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was born on January 27, 1756, in Salzburg, Austria. His father, Leopold, was a skilled musician and wrote a well-known violin manual. His mother, Anna Maria, came from a middle-class family. Mozart showed an extraordinary gift for music from a very young age. By the age of 3, he was already picking out chords on the harpsichord, and by 5, he was composing simple pieces. His abilities amazed those around him. His father recognized this talent and dedicated himself to teaching Wolfgang and his sister Nannerl music. Both children became highly skilled musicians, but Wolfgang's genius stood out even at an early age. By the time he was 6, Mozart was performing in front of important audiences. His father took him and Nannerl to Munich to play at the Bavarian court. Their performances were well received by the nobility. Later that year, the family traveled to Vienna, where Mozart played for the imperial court. His performances impressed Austria's aristocracy, and he gained a reputation as a musical prodigy admired by many in the city. There are numerous anecdotes about Mozart's abilities, including stories of his precise memory for music. It is said that he could hear a piece once and play it back perfectly, astonishing those around him. His father promoted him as a musical miracle, believing it was his duty to share his son's talent. Leopold sought opportunities for Mozart to perform, ensuring his abilities were noticed by influential figures. Mozart's performances in noble houses and courts built his reputation across Europe. His skill at improvisation and composition made him unique among young musicians of his time, drawing admiration everywhere. This early success set the stage for Mozart's future. As a child, he had already established himself as one of the most promising musicians in Europe, a remarkable achievement for someone so young. In 1763, Mozart's father, Leopold, took him and his sister on a European tour. The purpose was to showcase their musical talent. The journey covered major cities like Munich and Paris. Mozart played in royal courts and noble gatherings. His performances impressed audiences, and his skills were widely praised. In London, they met Johann Christian Bach, who influenced his music. During these travels, Mozart composed his first symphonies. His early works showed his ability to absorb different musical styles. He was only 8 years old at the time. Mozart's time in Paris was significant, as he met influential composers. Some of his earliest published works, sonatas for violin and keyboard, were written in this period. In London, under the guidance of Johann Christian Bach, Mozart composed 3 symphonies. These reflected the styles he encountered. He quickly mastered the elements of orchestral composition. While in The Hague, Mozart continued composing. His time there led to more symphonies. His ability to write varied pieces at such a young age amazed many musicians. Mozart's development accelerated with exposure to different music traditions. Meeting top musicians enhanced his skills. He learned to incorporate diverse influences in his compositions. Throughout their journey, Leopold wrote letters detailing Mozart's success. Many praised Wolfgang's talent. The young composer's name spread across Europe, attracting admiration. By the end of the tour, Mozart had solidified his reputation. He gained experience, composed remarkable pieces, and won the favor of many patrons. His journey shaped his future as a composer. Mozart traveled to Italy multiple times, where he studied the local operatic style. Italy was a cultural center for music, and opera was an essential genre. In Milan, he was commissioned to write the opera Mitridate, Re di Ponto. This experience helped him refine his skills and adapt to the expectations of the audience. He collaborated with renowned composers and studied counterpoint under Martini in Bologna. These influences helped him master Italian operatic structures and vocal writing. Mozart also visited Rome, where he heard Allegri's Miserere at the Sistine Chapel. He astonishingly transcribed the piece from memory after hearing it once. This skill impressed many and highlighted his exceptional musical ability. His exposure to Italian sacred music further shaped his compositional style. During return visits to Milan, he premiered Ascanio in Alba, and later Lucio Silla, affirming his growing command of theatrical composition in Italian opera. Mozart's deepening understanding of Italian opera influenced his later works. His compositions blended Italian lyricism with German dramatic depth. The combination of Italian finesse and structural complexity became a defining feature of his operas. His exposure to Italian techniques enriched his musical language. These experiences laid the foundation for masterpieces like Don Giovanni. His ability to integrate styles contributed to his lasting impact on Western music. Mozart returned to Salzburg and resumed his post at the court of Archbishop Hieronymus Colloredo. His position as concertmeister involved composing music for the church. He wrote sacred music, symphonies, and serenades. His works, including the Hafner Serenade, showcased his talent, merging orchestral grandeur with light entertainment. Despite his productivity, Mozart was frustrated by the limited scope of his role. The archbishop restricted his freedom and dismissed his aspirations for greater musical achievements. Mozart composed widely during his Salzburg years, but felt stifled. His orchestral and sacred works were admired, yet he longed for greater artistic independence. While he gained recognition for his symphonies and church compositions, he desired to write opera. His ambitions were limited by Salzburg's lack of operatic opportunities. His frustration grew as his employer failed to recognize his unique abilities. Mozart wanted a more vibrant musical environment, free from rigid court restrictions. Although dissatisfied with Salzburg, Mozart composed important works, including the Coronation Mass. His pieces displayed his evolving mastery of structure and harmony. His music reflected both his obligations and personal aspirations. The contrast between his court duties and artistic desires made him increasingly restless. Eventually, he realized that Salzburg could not fulfill his creative needs. His decision to pursue opportunities elsewhere marked a significant turning point in his career. Mozart left his Salzburg employer in 1781, seeking greater opportunity. He settled in Vienna, where he gained recognition as a pianist and composer in noble circles. His performances in aristocratic salons elevated his status, leading to commissions. He took on students and composed works for wealthy patrons, achieving moderate financial success. In 1782, he composed his first major opera in Vienna, The Abduction from the Seraglio. Its success established him as a leading opera composer in the city. Mozart's break from Salzburg gave him freedom to shape his career. His ability to compose and perform allowed him to thrive, though financial challenges remained. Vienna proved to be a center of artistic innovation, providing Mozart with opportunities to experiment. His music displayed a balance of classical elegance and dramatic depth. He expanded his repertoire beyond opera, composing piano concertos and chamber music. His versatility helped him secure steady work, despite periods of financial difficulty. His success with The Abduction from the Seraglio led to more recognition. Audiences admired its expressive music and rich orchestration, making it a lasting achievement. Despite his rising fame, Mozart struggled to maintain steady income. He relied on teaching and commissions, but his extravagant lifestyle often left him short of funds. His growing reputation in Vienna connected him with influential figures. These connections led to future collaborations, shaping the next phase of his career. Mozart reached his peak with operas like The Marriage of Figaro and Don Giovanni. These works showcased his deep understanding of drama and character. A key figure in his success was librettist Lorenzo da Ponte, who provided texts for Figaro and Don Giovanni. Their collaboration allowed for rich storytelling. Mozart introduced orchestral innovations, integrating instruments to enhance emotional depth. His operas combined sophisticated structure with engaging melodies. The Marriage of Figaro was groundbreaking in its dynamic ensembles and rich character relationships. It blended comedy with social commentary effortlessly. Although it found success, its political undertones made it controversial. The work challenged class structures, making it risky in Mozart's era. Don Giovanni followed with darker themes, combining supernatural elements with drama. It blended serious and comic styles, making it unique among operas. Mozart's operatic style advanced with realistic emotions and refined orchestration. He gave instruments specific roles to highlight characters' feelings. His partnership with Da Ponte resulted in operas that captured human behavior with both wit and depth, appealing to both aristocrats and commoners. Unlike many composers of his time, Mozart wrote music precisely suited for his librettist's dramatic structures, ensuring the stories unfolded smoothly. Despite achieving great success, Mozart faced worsening financial troubles. Although his operas were popular, he struggled with debts due to his lavish lifestyle and unstable income. To sustain himself, he borrowed from friends and took on students. His court position provided little financial security, and he relied heavily on performances and composition commissions. One of his final opera successes was The Magic Flute, which premiered in 1791. Combining humor with deep symbolism, the opera captured audiences and remains one of his most revered works. During his final year, Mozart also began composing his famous Requiem. The commission came from a mysterious messenger, which later fueled rumors about its connection to his death. Severely ill, Mozart became convinced he was writing the Requiem for himself. His health declined rapidly, and despite his efforts, he was unable to finish the composition before passing away. Mozart died on December 5, 1791, at the age of 35. The cause of his illness remains uncertain, leading to numerous theories about poisoning, overwork, or natural disease. After his death, his wife, Constanze, sought to complete the Requiem by hiring Franz Xaver Süssmayr. Using Mozart's notes, Süssmayr finished the piece, ensuring its place in history. Despite his tragic end, Mozart left behind an incredible musical legacy. His compositions influenced later composers and continue to captivate audiences with their brilliance and emotional depth. Though once buried in an unmarked grave, Mozart is now celebrated worldwide. His music remains a testament to his genius, securing his place as one of history's greatest composers. Mozart's influence on music remains vast. His work shaped styles and techniques in classical music, inspiring later composers like Beethoven and Schubert. His mastery of composition across all genres set standards still admired. His use of harmony, form, and melody advanced musical expression significantly. Romantic composers such as Chopin and Wagner found inspiration in his works. His compositions influenced orchestration and operatic storytelling deeply. Mozart's music remains widely performed, keeping his legacy alive. Concerts, festivals, and recordings showcase his timeless masterpieces globally. Opera houses continue staging his works, proving their lasting appeal. Pieces like The Magic Flute and Don Giovanni attract audiences worldwide. His symphonies and piano concertos are central in orchestral programs. The complexity and beauty of his compositions captivate musicians and listeners alike. Many myths surround Mozart's life and career. Some claim he composed effortlessly, while others believe he was poisoned by Salieri out of jealousy. Modern research disproves many myths, yet they persist in popular culture. Films and books, such as Amadeus, have shaped public perceptions of him. Despite inaccuracies, these stories keep interest in his life alive. His image as a musical genius continues to intrigue scholars and audiences alike. Mozart's influence extends beyond classical music. His compositions have appeared in films, advertisements, and modern arrangements of his works. Many educational programs use his music to introduce children to classical compositions. Studies suggest listening to Mozart may enhance cognitive skills. His legacy remains strong through continued studies of his work and performances. Mozart's music remains a bridge between past and present listeners globally.